It's a hot one today in New York, but today is another tutorial Tuesday, and I'm going to teach you guys how to apply face paint to a face. Because that's where face paint goes. You can make yourself look like Superman, Spider-Man. No, it's not Superman. Superman doesn't have a mask. Spider-Man, like Kane from WWE. Or you can make yourself look like the Yankees logo. You could do like a two-tone job where it's like blue and red. Or you could look like, you know, the Seahawks or whatever the hell you want. This is up to you. I'm curious what you guys are going to do with this one. I use it for my own stuff during work, and I think it's a pretty cool technique. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Let's roll that intro. Alright, so let's get started. So we have our image open in Photoshop here, and the first step we're going to do is we're going to save a duplicate of this. And we're going to go ahead and call it displacement. And you can save it wherever your original file is saved as well. So I'm going to go ahead and save over the one that I currently have. I'll just redo it. And so we're going to go ahead and save. Just hit OK if you get the Photoshop format options. It's saving. And then we're going to go ahead and reopen our original file. So we have the original one, and then we have the displacement layer. We're going to go ahead and make a layer from the background. I'm going to apply a black and white adjustment layer on top of it. And then we're going to go ahead and make sure that our image is selected, and we're going to go Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. We're going to add, probably going to go with like a 10 pixel Gaussian blur on this image here. So depending how big your image is, you're going to want to change your blur to be about this amount. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK, and we're going to go ahead and save that displacement file, and we're done with it, so we can go ahead and close it. We're going to open it back up later, and you'll see what's going on here. Alright, so we want to open up our original image, and we're going to go ahead and open up our channels. And we're going to only select the blue one. If you go through, you'll see that the most skin texture is generally captured in either the green or the blue. I tend to get the best results from the blue one. And so you want to make sure that just the blue is selected here. And if you go Command A, you're going to get the marching ants around your canvas, and you hit Command C, we're going to go ahead and copy it. And we're going to paste it into our document. And I'm going to name this, you can name it whatever you want. I'm going to name it Hard Light 30% because that's the settings that we're going to go ahead and apply to that. And so if I name it that way, it's a lot easier to reference real quick. So I'm going to go ahead and change our blending mode to Hard Light and our opacity to 30. And you can tell it just made it a lot more kind of dynamic. And so I'm going to go ahead and hide that layer. We're going to bring it back later. And that's going to help us get some skin texture into the face paint. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and grab our pen tool, and we're going to zoom in, and we're going to select the face. I'm going to go ahead and start down at the chin. And basically we're just going to go through and select around the edge. I'm going to go ahead and skip through this real quick for you so you don't have to watch me do this. Okay, so we have this outlined, and we're going to go ahead and make a selection from our path that we just made. And let's go ahead and feather our radius by 1 pixel, just so it softens it up a little bit and we don't get that super hard crisp edge where you can see, you know, that it's not part of the image. And make sure we got a new selection and hit OK. And so now we get the marching ants around our face. Let's go ahead and create a new layer, and I'm going to turn that into a mask. So now we have this mask over here, and you can see if I was to paste in that's our mask. I'm gonna lower the opacity down to 50, and then we can kind of see what we're doing here. And basically what I'm gonna come in is I'm gonna clean up all of the hair, because a lot of times when you do face paint, you know, you don't get a super crisp edge by the hairline, it softens a little bit. And so we're gonna basically do that. I'm gonna lower the hardness of my brush, and I'm gonna turn the size up a little bit here. White, the mask selected, and go ahead and just paint that in with that soft edge. We wanna just kind of make that hard edge disappear into the hair. As I'm finishing this up here, I'm gonna come down, and when I get down to the face, I'm gonna lower the size of my brush a bit here, because I don't want it to be quite as large and soft. And so I'm just gonna soften this up just a little bit. You can see that there was a portion of the face that didn't quite get masked. I'm gonna go ahead and clean that up, just like that. Okay, so now we have our face masked out, but what we need to do is we need to mask out the eyes. So let's go ahead and flip over so we have our black brush. And then so we're just gonna go ahead and paint the color right back into these eyes. And because we're painting over top of this layer mask, it's just gonna reveal the eye color below it. That's looking pretty good. And you can always come back in and clean these up later. We're gonna keep it editable. If you watch my videos, you know that that's a big thing that I like to do, is work non-destructively and make sure that everything stays editable, so it's super quick and easy to come back in and make edits in the future. Okay, so those look pretty good for now. Okay, so now that we have the face masked out, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and create a new layer, and we're gonna go ahead and select the black and white layer. And come back into our layers panel here, and we're gonna grab our mask, and we're gonna go ahead and apply it and replace the mask on the black and white, and we can go ahead and delete this extra layer that we have. And now we have a black and white face that we can go ahead and apply colors to, and we won't have the skin color coming through too much and affecting that. And so now we can go ahead and mask all of our future layers on top of this black and white one, because it has the mask already applied to it. We only have to edit the mask once if we need to, you know, make the eyes larger or fix one piece. It's not changing 5 different masks. So now that we have that done, we're gonna go ahead and bring in our design, and we're gonna go ahead and if you go right click and you convert it into a smart object. That's what we need. And whatever design you do now, it's not a big deal. We can come in and we can change the design later. That's the idea of creating it in this way with a smart object. And so now what we want to do is we want to warp this design. If I go ahead and lower the opacity, you can see that it's essentially over top of our model. So the first thing we need to do is we need to go ahead and go filter, distort, pinch. And so if you look down here, you can see that basically what's happening is it's either sucking it in and, you know, turning it into a concave sort of thing here, or it's kind of pushing it out and it's bulging it towards us. And obviously faces are bulging out at you with the nose and everything kind of in a round shape. And so you want to basically mirror the roundness of your model's face with this model down here. And you can see what's happening if you zoom this out. And basically that's going to help us kind of mold it to the model's face. So let's go ahead and hit OK. Not too bad. And then I'm going to go ahead and make sure we're still on this layer here. And we're going to go filter, distort, displace. And most other places will tell you to go 5 and 5 on the vertical scale and the horizontal scale. I've found better results with 10 myself. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then make sure your displacement map is stretched to fit, and you repeat your edge pixels. Go ahead and hit OK, and it's going to now have you select that displacement layer that we made earlier. And so if you go ahead and select that, hit open, it's going to do its magic, and basically it's going to warp that design based on kind of the depth in your face. And you'll see this more once we apply it to the face here in just 1 second. So now I'm going to go ahead and change the name of this to color burn 60%, because those are the options we're gonna go ahead and apply to it. So we have an opacity of 60%. We changed the blending mode to color burn. Now we're kind of there, right? We're close. So if we go ahead and create a clipping mask, now it's basically applied to the face. We just need one other layer to help with bringing in the colors so they're as realistic as possible, basically. So I'm gonna go ahead and duplicate this layer down by holding Option as you click and drag, and I'm gonna change the options here to overlay, a blending mode of overlay, 15%. It's too much right now, as you can see. So I go ahead and flip that to 15, we go overlay. This is basically the end result. If we go ahead and turn back on that hard light layer, you'll see, and if I go ahead and put it above this mask, if I turn that on and off, you'll see that basically it's just pulling in a lot more of that skin texture and tones there. So it doesn't just look like a color was laid on top. So go ahead and leave that, and you can tweak, some of the values here based on the picture you're using. These are the ones that I found that worked best for my picture and what I needed done. I bring back my completed layer and I open up my designs. You can see that I have, all of these in one, and they all have a little bit of blur to them so they don't look too crisp on the face. So let's drop in Pennywise here. So if I save that, and I come back over, boom, it's applied, it's done. I don't need to do a bunch of tweaking. I can save it and it's ready to go. One thing to keep in mind with this technique is masking around hair can be a pain in the butt. Facial hair can also be a challenge to work with. And then if the model isn't looking directly in the camera, you're gonna have to basically warp that mask even more with some perspective. Not only, face on like we did with the pinch and the displacement map, but you're gonna need to do some additional things in there to make sure that it lines up with that face if your model's looking off to the side of the camera, for instance. All right, so that was the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you learned something. I'm really curious what you guys are gonna do with this one, so if you happen to use it for anything and you post it on social media, tag me or leave me a link in the comments below. If you like this video, like it, subscribe, hit the notifications bell if you want to be notified the next time that I post a video. Leave me some critique and comments in the comments section. Let me know what other kind of tutorials you want me to make. And thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.